Good morning. This is Paul McAndrew from the Wellness Station again. You remember that the last episode of reading from this book, Keep Going, The Art of Perseverance. And by the way, for the children that are looking at this, that are watching this, do you know what that word perseverance means? Have you ever had a situation where it was really kind of difficult? Like, well, maybe you were at the beach and you were by the water and you were making a sandcastle and the tide was coming in, which means that the water is going to get higher and higher each time the waves come in and go back out. And you decided, well, we're going to continue to make our sandcastle, but we'll build a wall so that the water doesn't knock the castle down. And when you start to build the wall, you just kind of get it almost really good. You haven't packed it down yet, and a wave comes and washes it away, and you say, oh gosh, I worked so hard at making that wall. Well, I guess I can make it again and just work a little bit more with it. Maybe I didn't push in that one side as well as I might with that wall around the sandcastle. So you persevere, you stay with it. Even though it was challenging, you stayed with it. And eventually you saw the water go around the wall, go around the castle that was in the center, and you're feeling very proud of yourself. That's perseverance, staying with something that's challenging and difficult sometimes. So in this story, which is about a young boy, Jeremy, and his grandfather, Old Hawk, oftentimes Jeremy will ask questions about life, and the granddad will respond oftentimes with a story. So you might remember that I was reading to you about two men who were going along a path along a country road at night, and they came to a very deep and very dark and dense forest. And one man was a lawyer, and remember, he was the one who did a lot with books and a lot with discussing how things ought to be, etc. Oh, that's my dog Sophie. And you want to see Sophie? See if you can see Sophie. Where are you, Sophie? There you are. There's Sophie. She's an old dog. We got her from the shelter, and we're not sure how old she is, but we've had her now since 2009. So she's at least 11 years old. Anyway, and she's a good dog. So the lawyer is a person who does a lot of work with books and with telling people how things ought to be done, the right and the wrong way of doing things. And the other gentleman is a wood carver. He works with his hands, and he makes knives, and he makes chairs, and he makes tables, etc. Lots of beautiful things. He might make a wooden spoon for you to eat your breakfast with, or have your soup. So when they get to the woods, you remember that the lawyer said, oh, I'm not going in there. There's the possibility of thieves and animals and strange animals and sounds and everything. It's dark, it's dense, it's scary, and I'm not going there. And the woodcarver said, well, there's something worse than all of that if you don't go. And the lawyer said, what could that possibly be? And that's what I left you with. Did you talk about that at all? So you think about that during this time with the virus, where people are staying home because they want to avoid getting ill or causing someone else to get ill. So the woodcarver goes through the forest, and it's not an easy journey. It's dark. He sometimes trips over branches and tree limbs. He hears sounds that are a little bit scary. He can hear an owl hooting. And you know how an owl at night, I'm sure you've heard an owl at night, and how scary that can be, kind of the sound. And he eventually makes it to the other side, and he comes out into a clearing, and he basically exhales and feels really good about what he did. Because what was worse than not going through the woods was not facing his fears. So he faced his fears, he stayed with it, he persevered, and he came out the other end. So tomorrow we're going to have another story from this book, and maybe you can talk with one another, with your family, with your mom and dad. Mom and dad can talk. You can talk with your children, friends, etc., maybe by Skype, however you might do that, and just kind of address, like, how are you feeling during this time? What makes you feel happy? And what makes you feel a little bit sad? And see what you come up with. And talk from your heart. You know, that's right in here. Okay, see you soon. Love you.